Shalom. Call Lord Yahweh Shem Shalom to the left. Now, this scenario that's going on over there in Jerusalem area in Israel with Palestine, this whole scenario gonna cause this to pop off. See, they had like a little ceasefire recently. But like the scripture says, when they shall mention peace and safety, then sudden destruction come. So, hold this up. Now you look at the valley of Jehoshaphat. This is mentioned in the scriptures, and this hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna happen on the behalf of us for the things that they did. And I got a few more other videos queued up too that I want to go into. So I'm trying to get straight to the point. Now it says that the valley of Jehoshaphat is a biblical place mentioned by name in the book of Joel. And the scripture says, I will gather together all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Then I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and for my inheritance Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and they have divided up my land. Who are they? These Amalekites. Now, being wise and understanding of the scriptures, you have some of these people that look like them that are actually us, and then vice versa. So it's not just a color thing, but predominantly for the nation of Israel, most of the people are really of color. And the Most High gonna judge them for what they did. Because these were the people that funded the transatlantic slave trade. These are the people behind all the turmoil and all the hell put on our people while we was on the boats and when we got off the boats, even prior to getting on those boats, just to get over here to Babylon. Let me pull this person up in the book of Joel. And see, I can right now, too many people don't really take this serious right now. Because they look at it like, oh, you're just reading that book, people have been talking about that or whatever. But it's going to be a time when people really value how you carry yourself, what you know. People are going to really see that. That's what's going to make a man more precious and fine gold. And we start from the top of the book of Joel. It says, for behold, in those days, and at that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will prove them there for my people and for my heritage, whom they have scattered among the nations, a part of my land. And see what you see now is men carrying themselves like a real Yehudi, a real Jew, so to speak. Carrying themselves like an Israelite, like how we used to do in ancient times. And in this modern society, and people fooled and bamboozled thinking there's something wrong with the ancient way. The ancient way actually worked perfectly. All this other stuff had people bugged out. Most people can't even hold a decent conversation without looking down at their phone or whatever. And the list goes on with problems with all the other extra shit that's being pushed out to society. Now verse 3 it says, and they have cast lots for my people. Who cast the lots? These people funded them. Like I put up in a previous video. So let's get the imagery. Only certain people did this. And they want to erase this history of the city. They can try to make people forget, but the Most High didn't forget. They didn't forget about none of this stuff. All these years that people had to do this, deal with this, and still suffer from it today, whether people want to admit it or not. Find another one. these are those lots. And if you actually want to see a movie where it gives some graphic detail, just watch the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom. And actually give some graphic detail on what them Edomites was doing. And then they try to say, oh, well, your own people sold you into this. No. You had those Hamites, which you was always warring with them too. You hear about the story with King David fighting Goliath. You had those Hamites, those Canaanites, those Philistines. Those are the ones that sold us into slavery. They just had dark skin, but they weren't from the same lineage. Anyway, it says in verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people. They have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. That's what they did. See how they got the little child right there? Got the woman right there. It says, yeah, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? And you got them over there doing all this. That's why the scriptures say, what have you to do with me? They definitely ain't supposed to be over there. Neither one of them, but they both fighting over it. Because they know the true history of Islam. They actually want it. Meanwhile, you got niggas fighting over blocks in Babylon. Hey, the elites, they know the real area where they supposed to be at, or want to be at, I should say. Some more. It says, yeah, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return the recompense upon your own head? Because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah, the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. And most people, if you ask them, hey, what's your nationality? Where you from? Most people, they're going to tell you Africa, not even realizing that land wasn't even called Africa to a certain period of time. So they don't even know where they're really from for real. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them. And that's what's going to happen. It says, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters to the hand of the children of Judah. And that leads me to this other video that I got queued up. See, Esau, these Edomites, they think they actually got away with what they did. They're not going to have to pay for it no type of way. So,
It was a journey through Black history. I wanted to go through every single chapter in real life. When you sat down to write this book, what was your mission?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. The origin of the book originated in my hometown of New Orleans. And I was watching several Confederate statues and monuments come down. And P.J. Beauregard, Confederate General, Jefferson Davis, Confederate President, Robert E. Lee, Confederate General. And thinking about what it meant that I grew up in a majority Black city, in which there were more homages to enslavers than there were to enslaved people. And what does that mean? What does it mean that to get to school, I had to go down Robert E. Lee Boulevard? To get to the grocery store, I had to go down Jefferson Davis Parkway. To get to my middle school was named after a leader of the Confederacy.
See, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, because in the city I was raised in, you had the school Andrew Jackson. You know the history by Andrew Jackson. You had Nathan Bedford Forest High School, which they ended up changing that to Westside High. You know the history about that. The high school I went to was Robert E. Lee. If you know the history about that, hey, you know who those type of people were. So it really was like a slap in the face, even going to that stuff. And there was always tension between the two top tribes, Jacob and Esau, the main people that the scriptures talk about the most. And it says, let me go to the scripture real quick. So the book of Genesis, chapter 25, I'm going to start at. Let's see what verse I'm going to start at exactly. I'm sorry, verse 22, it says, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I this? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And that hasn't happened yet, because we served them first. So, daytime actually coming. And they know, the elites know it. So they are trying to go out of space and escape and shit. And build them bunkers and go hide out. But they ain't gonna be able to escape this judgment, man. Now, verse 24 says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. When the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Let's pull up the imagery for that. I ain't even gonna type in Esau, I'm just gonna type this real quick like I did in the previous video and see what come up. Oh, we got some imagery right here. It says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. There's only certain people on this earth that come out red like this, like a hairy garment. Let me go find some more pictures real quick. Is there some more? That's not it. Look real red to me, man. And it says, and after that came his brother out. And you notice it ain't really described the color of his brother. Why? Because he was already the normal color. And it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 3 years old when she bare him. Now, pull some more imagery too to go into the characteristics of these people. And some of these characteristics still follow us to this day. Like you got people celebrating right now. And there's certain stuff that they do. Now, in verse 27 it says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. Who was a cunning hunter? Let me just type this in. Who really pride themselves in that hunt shit? Oh, what do you know? Esau. I ain't even have to search that much for this shit. It's all over the place. You can't escape your traits. Like, that shit follow you. Certain stuff your father do or your great-grandfather do, you're gonna do the same shit. And I can speak on that from personal experience. The stuff I do now, same stuff my father do, grandpa do, great-grandfather, all that. So you can't really escape your traits. Yeah, Esau, man, the cunning hunter, like the scripture said. It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man. And what do you mean by plain man? Just like to chill and do what? Dwelling in tents. You got people right now dwelling in tents for this so-called holiday. Go back a little bit. And just for edification's sake, who was some of the main people that built tents? there were certain people on this earth that was really dwelling in these tents like this and still